In a flat up in Chicago with a keyboard and some tea lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius, he's got a plugin for that. Clicks and tricks from his marketing.
Thank you, everybody. A little bit of a weird start. Not too badly on time. 10:01 exactly. I've got Vince DePinto in the house sending me best wishes. Good morning, everybody else, as you start to wind in. Last week we had some drama. Hopefully it will not happen this week. YouTube shut me down. They just shut me down. Apparently they have an algorithm now for your live events. And even if it's just a temporary thing, if you show an API key or something that relates to an MCP, they just automatically shut you off, like cut you off, pull the plug on you. And so midstream last week, right when I was getting into the good stuff with MinuteLaunch Mail, that happened. It was quite interesting, but fortunately, StreamYard, among its other things, does allow me to do backup videos. So I was able to post the whole session. This week, I'm going to remain much more on topic and tight. And if you guys could say hello and let me know in the chat, good morning, that you can see and hear okay, we will get off to a great start today. I'm going to say over here, good morning. I use that to validate. It's coming up on haircut time. I'm in the Shaggy DA range. Updates on everything else, and then we're going to go into the good stuff. Today, it's, hey, meet the new boss. It's the new boss. I was reading this morning when I got woken up a little early, a really good article about the drama of WordPress, which is the thing onto which we built everything with Fernando and everything else. However, this was not a complimentary type of an article. It was factual based, and it discussed the fact that Matt Mullenweg controls something that has 43 to 47% of the internet. And one of the things that I want to point out is that the basis for why Fernando is now the new boss, the ethical boss, he is, whatever reference you want to put on it, he is the benevolent dictator of your world. You actually control him, but he allows you to do the things that otherwise have been really part of the problem of WordPress on top of an otherwise amazing platform. And we'll discuss that as we always do. But the concept being WordPress itself, the main box, everything is really awesome. It has a stack of tools and components, and it has all of the logins and all of the capabilities and all the standards and all of the other things you need. Where it goes sideways was in the business model of the way Mullenweg ran the thing. And I'm an outspoken critic of it because I've been participatory at the higher levels of WordPress's ecosystem. And we are where we are today, that Fernando and other solutions are coming forth for this very reason. But the good news is I have a different philosophy, and I don't mind espousing it here. I have no aspirations, nor do I claim that I am going to be the pinch point like Mr. Mullenweg has been of the MinuteLaunch system. On the contrary, I provide you and everybody else a promise, a guarantee that from day one, the differentiator in using this system of MinuteLaunch is that you or your customers have 100% ownership and control. Everything you create, everything you do, including some of the core components like MinuteLaunch Canvas Block, are basically yours for the keeping. Where I interact is at the level of running a concierge operation in the Four Seasons Hotel. When you go to the Four Seasons, you don't pretend that you own the hotel or the concierge desk or the room, but you can continue to go there and continue to have this amazing relationship, knowing that you're never going to get the rug pulled out from under you. And more importantly, all of the things that you create using the MinuteLaunch system, using MinuteLaunch Lab or Coach, are 100% yours, which brings out the other issue from this article, that AI in general, while it is not hopefully going to replace human beings, does provide you as a layperson or a non-professional coder a way to have an outcome that you really otherwise would not have been able to have. There is just absolutely no way that you or I or any of us would be able to do what I've been able to give to you ready to use with the old-fashioned coding methods. And I mean that sincerely as a person who has written several very popular plugins, including launch flows, or been involved in many others. The time it took me to do stuff was probably 100x, maybe in some cases 1,000x. Let's jump into the slides today because I have prepared a show. I'm going to remove Fernando, and I am going to go with this. By the way, I did read, although I didn't get a chance to try yet, StreamYard is still trying. So they did come up with finally a two layout arrangement where you can arrange the stuff on the screen for your 9:16 and your 16:9. I haven't made use of it yet, but I'm hoping that I will, because I'm not able to make AI clips out of these performances because the stupid singular format meant that it was either showing like one thing or the other and not a good way. So I have to play with this after the fact, but we'll see how it goes. Let's stick this into a more favorable arrangement like that. I think I'd done maybe, this isn't bad either. This is a little more balanced. Okay, so if this works, let's talk about the concept today of meet the new boss. Fernando runs the shop now. No politics, no drama, just a business that gets built and run in minutes. I think it's, good morning, Claude. I think it is fair to say that WordPress as we knew it is over. I don't know if, I'm not 100% sure if I can find the article. I'm going to see if I can dig it up here. Hold on one second. I'm getting paged on my watch here. It came in the mail. Let's see. WordPress news. Let's see if it shows up here. If not, I'll just pull it out later and I'll give it into the show notes. It came through one of my, I guess you call it one of my email lists. I'm not going to worry too much about it. It's just a bunch of details of things that we already knew. It was in Medium. And the reason that WordPress has had so much trouble is because there's literally decades, almost 2 decades of plugin sprawl, vendor politics, community drama, drama with a capital D. There's weeks sometimes of setup before a business could even send an email or take a payment. I mean, that is the dramatic difference between what we do today with agentic automatic setup email. Oh my God, I'm going to show you, you're going to freak out. And how you have to do in WordPress. And then you really worked for the software. It really never worked for you. The situation is that you had basically to install a variety of plugins that you would get from the flea market. And in doing so, you would hope for the best that somebody or something would not break your whole entire operation. And from that standpoint, your luck would typically run out within a couple of days or weeks. That's how I made my primary living for many years, is that we would fix Frankenstein monsters, or we would cure people of what we called shiny ball syndrome, also known as little old lady swallowed the fly. Put in a plugin, to fix the other plugin because the plugin before it was broken, because the theme was broken, because of the I don't know why she swallowed the fly. All right. The new boss, not the same as the old boss. I can hear the who in my head right now. Fernando, your agentic partner, is now running your business or your client's business on demand. This is significant, and it's an operational difference that has huge implications and meaning. And when you've actually experienced it, as many of you have, it is revolutionary. I'm going to show you some examples of that today, especially when it comes to things like agentic email, which is conceptually something you've never experienced because it's brand new. But instead of you having for a brand new business or your client's business to set up, we got to create a brand new Google workspace and we got to 2-factor authenticate. And then you got to log in with your device with the passcode. And then I got to bother you with 7 text messages and $22 of a sign up, all that crap. Instead, you go to MinuteLaunch Mail, you go, let's give a name for an agentic email that Fernando can run. And bloop, click, he's ready to go, rocking and rolling, automatically sending transactional or basic marketing emails up to 300. Then you could click and go to Brevo, and with one click install an API-based connection that allows you to do 3,000 marketing emails. Both of those run by Fernando, both of those without the need to first authenticate or create any custom email in Google Workspace or otherwise. So for launching a business, a remarkable change, faster, easier, better, but more importantly, none of the drama or politics. The number one difference, and I can't tell you how good this feels to me. I know you guys didn't experience it, but I have hours of videos of me talking with everybody from John Denwood to the community. I've been on this show called the WP Tonic Roundtable for now 15 years. The drama of WordPress, of this company did this to whom, and this guy or girl did this to everybody else, or this plugin had some horrific level of violation of trust. All of it's gone. We're at the dream that I had in the hot tub, and I think I'm going to have to use some of the tools to make a replication of me in the hot tub. We're at the dream I had in the hot tub last July. 12 months later, I could have never imagined it happening this fast. Of holy shit, we can use the basic box of WordPress that is maintained by hundreds of thousands of people of contribution, literally probably tens of thousands, and none, not a single plugin. The only thing we still use, because it's of necessity or convenience, is I still use the Cadence theme, but even the Cadence theme isn't that necessary. But I have quite literally achieved, with one, maybe two exceptions, replacing the whole entire stack of drama and politics and plugins and little old lady swallow the fly on top of the main WordPress box. And that's Fluent CRM, just because creating and running a CRM is not something that I take lightly or that I need to do. I could do it. I don't want to do it. Many people who are using other tools can still use those as well. I have some components, including MinuteLaunch Mail or Fathom, MinuteLaunch Fathom, that will connect to your other CRMs if you need or want to. And of course, I'm still involved with Jack and WP Fusion, but it doesn't seem logical to bother with outside CRMs when you've got Fluent CRM right there as well. One of the other components that I'll share with you is with Fluent CRM, there's a pro version, which is included if you need it, but most of the stuff I've created will run on the free version so that you can just as easily get things going without adding more additional plugins. I'll show you more about that. The second is we are still in the world where I am leaning heavily on WooCommerce, because WooCommerce is such a fixture in the WordPress space and in the e-commerce space. I have created all the full-blown features we need inside of MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway to do the things that WooCommerce subscriptions does. But to be fair, I still use WooCommerce myself to run WP Launch. Most of my clients have it. That is not likely to go away anytime soon. For a full-blown traditional system, WooCommerce is still the gold standard. MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway is something that I'm starting to pull up behind. And for digital products, lightweight memberships, subscriptions, things that need just instant action, it's a fantastic alternative. Because the whole point of all of this, let's be honest, we're living in a gold rush era. Everybody's talking about it. Even, when your parents in their 80s start talking about AI, it's like it's happening, right? It's all about getting stuff done. The stuff that we dreamed about for 20 years in WordPress, the stuff that you guys have heard me talking about and we struggled to perform and do, is now starting to get done. But it's getting done instantly when you've got the right setup and the relationship with, hey, you guessed it, it's Fernando. Okay. So what does Fernando deliver? What does the MinuteLaunch system deliver? At the end of the day, although we can do anything under the sun, quite frankly, and almost have lately, there's 6 big blocks. There's marketing, the email, the social posting, the content creation that effectively runs itself. I mean, I can legitimately say it is running itself. For example, if I just log in here to MinuteLaunch, And this is where I run my own social stuff from. Even though it's a laboratory, I run it from here. I have to do the shrinky dink. If we go into MinuteLaunch social, you will see in real time. Let me actually scale this a bit. Look at that. I got much better layout. You will see that I am using this in real time. In fact, last evening, I sent out some of the content that was created with MinuteLaunch Persona, MinuteLaunch Social. Fernando created it. Fernando, by the way, you'll see here, is giving me all the analytics of everything that he is managing, including recommendations that he can save as insights for how to do better. You can see a trend here. Mondays at about 8 p.m. with video with 300 to 800 characters, 4 to 7 tags tends to be the hot spot. Okay. And you can see where I have spikes, and Instagram I'm doing very well on with certain things. But the idea is every single thing that Fernando publishes, he has access to and can go back. And whether you do it manually or with his help, you can see where the trends are, where the engagement is. So as of yesterday, for example, hopefully many of you guys got that. I did a social post. Let's do this one. If I just wanted to, I could simulate creating the email. This was a post that I did where I went to visit my cousin Howard, who runs Ankin Law, one of the biggest law firms in the city of Chicago, if not the nation. And we were talking about what he's using for AI and which systems and what they're doing for marketing. And what was fascinating was that in the process of our conversation, he asked me the question that I actually love to hear, which was, who's Fernando? What's MinuteLaunch? And how do I get it? And in the course of the conversation, I explained how we're using these tools with today's UGC marketing popularity, user-generated content marketing. And so I was able to, this is a replication of it, I was able to create the email that links out to the specific posts that were made. And I happily, I'll give you guys the link to this one. I happily created a video that was using our tools that was Howard, or I should say Howard Nando, Fernando, and myself. And it's funny because this was like really, really close to what we were actually doing. Fernando, of course, don't tell anybody. Fernando was not there with us. But to be able to create this kind of content the morning after and to do it automatically is so incredible when you think about it for an attorney, right? Not just for business, but it's also for helping the attorneys, like he's saying, marketing, social posts, email, pages, client education, all of the things that are necessary can be done easily and automatically. And for an attorney like Howard, who runs, there's probably 85 people in his firm, millions of dollars of marketing budget, this was consequential and very gratifying to me, not just because, you know, he's family. By the way, it was weird. We were talking, we have pictures of our great-great-grandparents, and it was very weird because we're like brothers anyway. It was weird that like two people 100 years ago did it, and he and I are here now. It was just one of those weird, you think about it like your origin story, you go, oh, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, and great-great-grandfather, and like you and I are here because those two people got together. It was weird in a good way. E-commerce. So what I am using, as I said, is WooCommerce subscriptions. For affiliates, I no longer use Affiliate WP. I actually have been using, for the moment with WooCommerce, I use Fluent Affiliate. But nevertheless, same idea. When we go into our stack, and I may or may not have it set up here. I do have it here, but I'm not necessarily using it. I'll show you another example. MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway provides a much more interesting opportunity. I am actually using this. I'm going to show you another site, RezonaHealth.ai. This is one of my larger clients as of late, and very, very successful business. We're using this to manage the entire operation instead of using WooCommerce. And what's interesting is this gives us the full capability of a full product suite, affiliates, tracking, orders, shipping, everything exactly the way I want it instead of the way I'm forced to take it. So when we built the site, this entire operation was built with Fernando, but instead of using any plugins at all, this entire site, 100%, a multi-million-dollar company, and the new marketing operation, this was 100% built only with MinuteLaunch stuff. And it's a really remarkable thing because you see, even though I'm showing you these product style pages and all the stuff that you're used to, like as if it was WooCommerce, we're not really doing things this way. The way we're doing things here is we're doing sales page, sales funnel, social network marketing. People are not driven to a site now to go shopping. They're driven by sales pages that are in social media with things like Fernando and Howard Nando and Spence Nando all saying this is a solution you should check out and going to a very specific page, which is a remarkably different outcome. Here's an example of something, just so I can share with you. Here's an example of something that I mean. Let me also, this, for example, if we were in one of the videos, this would send somebody about the products they make to this sales page. This sales page has video and inline stuff, all made by Fernando, products that go directly to the WooCommerce, I'm sorry, the MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway checkout. Notice the difference. This is MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway. It's fast, it's light. If I was one click smaller, it would 2-column. This requires none of the aggravation or none of the overhead that we typically get when we're using WooCommerce. So there is a benefit here because once you don't start with something, you don't have to keep fixing something. Transactional, so receipts, logins, notices. Imagine a world where everything that the system does is automatically sent to the right people at the right place at the right time, and all of the data is also incorporated by the system into making it better. So here's an example. If we go back here to this, I'll just use the Arizona Health site because we've got some stuff installed. We're using this for our MinuteLaunch socials. Fernando is tracking the analytics of everything that we've created and posted. Okay, and you can see the trends there. But in this particular case, we can also track the Fluent CRM campaigns. We have an entire marketing strategy that's laid out that was done by Fernando. The entire operation, everything about it, is available for myself and the client, along with my partner, to share, optimize, discuss with Fernando inside of here. We can discuss it with them either inside of, I'm not going to show you too much because this is a real site. We can discuss it with them here inside the lab chat. I'm just going to give you a little sneaky peek, just a little sneaky peek of our conversation, or I can do it through the coach. But Fernando is in the discussion. He has all of the data. He has all of the tools. He has the creation of content that goes out to social marketing through his own work. And then he comes back and reports about it. He can even send the emails directly using, this is the amazing part, using MinuteLaunch Mail. So MinuteLaunch Mail, in this particular case, is disabled, but I'll show you here. He can do it like we're doing here with MinuteLaunch Mail. The particular people who are the customers, we can use this tool to compose individually or with Fernando's help, just like using Gmail, the emails that we need. We can decide who it goes out to or add somebody to the CRM. And I'm going to show you this in a more dramatic fashion. And Fernando has his own email box. Fernando has his own capability of reading the mail, but we don't have to necessarily give him access to all of the email that Spencer has in his Gmail, right? Let me show you as an example. If I go to, I'm going to use the InstaWP here. Come on, InstaWP, don't let me down today. If I do ML Mail, let's see if I can find it. There we go. Okay. So if we go to ML Mail, I have some real stuff in here. I also have actually been using it. I'm going to go to this Arizona Health. To our Launch Pure, because I think I have that there. But if If I go to the inbox here, you can kind of see, I really want to do it in this view. I think this is more realistic. You'll notice this operates almost exactly like Gmail, but with some features. I've built in all of the capabilities that you would need to have a team email. So you don't have to go out and get an email first. As you'll see, go to agentemail.to, I think it is. The link is here. Sets up an email that could be your brand name or your client's name at agentmail.to. Then that instantly allows you or Fernando or other team members to read and compose all of the emails being sent. And the email that can be created or sent or whatever can be in plain text or HTML. And the reason that this is so awesome is because this also works with the individual CRM. So for example, if I'm sending back and forth with a client who is in my CRM, like this is Help at Lab Secrets, this particular individual is also in the CRM here. So if I go to Fluent CRM Contacts and I were to go to Test Spence or Help at Lab Secrets, I have a new tab here called Conversations. And notice all of the conversations, even ordinary mail, are here along with the regular campaigns or transactional emails. So anything that you do with an individual ends up in the CRM, but you have the sort of same convenience of using Gmail inside of a primary box, where if I was collaborating, like in this case with Dr. Stuart Hoover, either one of us can see what the other one sent or did, and we can jump on board and we can use it. Okay. So I'm going to come back to these because there's a lot to cover, but in detail, MinuteLaunch Mail combined with the transactional mail of Brevo means we just get instant capabilities to offer something very powerful to our customers that they otherwise would have spent hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars. Image production. I love this because I use this every day, but I also do it live. So I signed up one of our new community members here, Deneen. If she's here, welcome. I demonstrated to Deneen live in our 1-hour consultation how to set up all of her stuff, including I showed her how she can use, for example, Media Hub P2P to search for initial images to be used inside of content, right? So if I'm looking for puppies, we did some pages for her of puppies and kitties just to demonstrate. It will search the internet using the SERP key, and Fernando can do this as well. It doesn't have to be through me. It could be through using Coach or Lab or Desktop. It will search for results that match up that I can add. Shocking that there wouldn't be one, unless my key is run out here, which is always the case. Allows us to get the results in the images that we need and add them to the media library, which, right? So, oh, what a cute puppy. I'm going to save this one and I'm going to save this one. Now that's available for Fernando to use. If I want to look for puppy icons because I need something that looks really good inside of the layouts, I can be prescriptive here and search for icons. This is also very good, by the way, of searching for people, because not icons, but images. If you're trying to validate a person and you want to look for like Spencer Foreman, you can actually search through here and turn on the settings about which things that it's looking for and why, so you can filter out. And it really comes back with great results. But the best benefit is that the results are now saved in your media library. They're not just random chance. This is fascinating. I don't know if this is the younger AI version of me. I've never seen that picture. But you kind of get the gist of it, right? So this tool combined with the image creation, whether I go to the media library or I just go to MinuteLaunch Image Editor. I showed her this one where I did the puppy stuff. I did puppies and coffee. So I took a picture of the puppies and I took a picture of some coffee shop and I said, show the puppies drinking coffee, right? So MinuteLaunch Image Editor, you know how simple this is and powerful. But imagine, okay, I'm going to choose the puppy and then I probably have a picture of coffee in here from another event. Maybe I have me at a cantina. My son said, you can't do that. I'm like, I'm just wearing a hat at a cantina. Here's coffee, coffee shop, right? So if I select the coffee shop and I select the puppy, okay, I add the selected and I say, show the puppy drinking the coffee at the coffee shop, make it super cute, whatever. You've seen me do this trick a million times. I can use the AI model of choice, or I can just say, pick the right one, which works awesome every time. Generate an image in whatever format. This party trick right here is worth $197 alone, because all day long, every day, I'm making images for use by my clients. You can use this since Vince is here. Vince, we famously had a moment months ago when this was just early days where he was trying to make, for one of his clients in the meat industry, he was trying to make hot dogs that had pieces of cheese in it. And we were joking at the time because I said, Vince, don't worry, this is baby steps. It's going to be crazy. And he was a little cynical at the time. Now Vince is fully converted, right? So if you're here, Vince, pipe in. But the idea at the time of how basic it was is sort of ridiculous. Now, look, I've got a cute puppy drinking coffee. Now, what I do with this typically is I go into the next thing, which is social. And we've seen this party trick, but for you and your clients, Fernando can do this self-managed, right? I go into the dashboard and I go, hello, let's make a picture of puppies that we publish. So you can do this a couple ways. You can either use the quick post here and you just add the media object that you just created, or you can use a post or page or any other content that's already existing and choose to send out from there. And then for creating this, I also like to explain, puppies drinking coffee may be cute, but they're not as cute as using MinuteLaunch, some ridiculous thing. I can have this optimized with the AI into the perfect thing to post across my networks, which, by the way, it should automatically tell me not to do it on YouTube because this isn't a video. But if it was a video, which I've been doing, it will show me that. So you notice for Blue Sky, and then it's going to put out the rest of them. It's doing 2 of 7. It's going to write the optimal format with all of the tags in the right spot, specific for those networks. And then I can just instantly schedule it or edit it further. I can make the emails and the newsletter, everything from this. I'm doing nothing. I just needed to tell Fernando what's the idea. Now, had I wanted to, I could have just said to Fernando in the lab or Fernando in the desktop or Fernando in the coach, hey, make a picture of puppies drinking cappuccino and make it funny. That's what I did for today's show when I did the image of Fernando as, the boss. I just took Fernando's picture and I said, make Fernando the boss, make it moody and dark like, a movie poster. Okay. So you can see here, I've got the various things, and I can publish this now for all these networks. I know YouTube is going to come back with a failure because you're not supposed to publish images into YouTube. But we've seen this party trick before. The point is, I just use these various tools. My clients use these tools. These are worth hundreds of dollars. We've talked about how Hootsuite alone is $400 a month just for the software, for no actual work. Now, the UGC part, this is the part that this is your weekend where magic is going to ensue. I've been mentioning to you that I've been testing and improving MinuteLaunch Persona so that I can get the outcome that I'm getting now by using other specialty tools. Like I've shown you before, I have been using Higgsfield. I have been using Runway. Not that Runway. I've been using Runway AI. I have been using UseNotch. These are all services that allow the creation of user-generated content videos. None of them in themselves is so special. I've been using them because they just have the suite of tools that ultimately I already had started building, but I needed to come back to for what's called MinuteLaunch Persona. So MinuteLaunch Persona is really the thing that's going to bring this in-house. And I'll show you how this looks because it's almost ready for, I want to do a couple little doodads because it's always a process. But let me show you how MinuteLaunch Persona looks now. In the past, it had been a little more focused on doing marketing for race car drivers and so forth because I had a customer, Doug, whose son, needed that kind of an outcome. But right now, if we look at it, you've just essentially in your dashboard got a process that's linear. You have actors, including groups of actors. Maybe I'll go bigger here. I don't know if it's going to be better. Bigger, maybe. Better, maybe not. Okay. You got actors. You could choose from individuals, or you could choose from groups of people. And for some reason, when I do this screen share, it doesn't show the drop down. But like, for example, here's Howard Ankin. I could choose props. I could choose scenes if I've created it. That's like where we're at. The scene description is really the best part because, see, I can create scenarios in advance, and Fernando and I can agree on, like, let's create a list of 100 scenarios that might be good for social network marketing, or that might be an interesting scenario to put our characters in. When we do it that way, each of them can be individually created and ultimately automatically created, so that I then have 10 different versions of a video. Here, for example, I could say, show Howard working in the office discussing a case with a client, and then he turns to the camera and says, you can trust Ankin Law. Okay. I can improve this with the AI so that it has the necessary details so as to create what is going to be a good video. Notice it's enabled to, give more details. It didn't say like 9:16 or anything, but it could. I could choose the aspect ratio, the length of the video, and then which engine. So in this particular case, I can choose from, Seed Dance Direct or Higgsfield Speak or Fabric 1.0 and so forth. And all of these have different keys that one can use. And again, you will pay extra. I am not going to pay for these for you. But like here in Seed Dance, you get your own account if you want, and then you could just put some quarters into the slot machine. So I'll show you how this works. I just do this pay as I go, but with Open Router and stuff, I have autofill. Whichever way you do it, once you sign in, if it lets me sign in, you can just go ahead and add more money, right? So if I go in here, I got 40 credits. I can add some more credits, right? And I can do, go to price, need more credits, go to pricing. And I can do pay as my go, $20 at a time, which is what I've been doing just because I'm testing this. Notice what they use for checkout. They use Stripe, right? So we're using the same kind of components that all the modern tools are using, which is awesome. But I'm just putting $20 in here so you can see I'll actually generate a 5-second clip. Okay. Okay. So now I should have some credits on file. I'm just waiting. Let's assume that works. If I go over here, I'm going to choose Seed Dance Direct. That's who I just put the money in with. And then I click generate. And if it registers my credit, you'll notice it says view the clips. It's just going to be producing the clips. So I can just walk away and do whatever. Now, Fernando can do the same thing. Fernando can take the who, what, when, where, why, and produce all of the same content that you've been seeing me cranking out with my MinuteLaunch social, including the one like I just shared with you with Howard and Fernando and I, at Carmine's. Here's us on the beach. I show these things and it immediately resonates with all the customers and clients. Everybody wants their own version of this. Better for me, though, has been that when we've actually tested this, it actually tests out. So, for example, when we were talking about Resona Health, the client of mine there with my partner, he is a genius, literally a rocket scientist, right? The chief engineer of the space shuttle. If we were to look up, and God forbid I figure out how to go, where do I search for? Here, Arizona. I don't know how to search for, maybe because I'm in the wrong. I don't know how to search in this view when I'm using Instagram. I think I can't. Oh, there it is. Okay. They hide it. The kids today, they hide it. If you're not actually in the right format, you don't see anything. So for example, this is Mark. Here's some stuff that we've done for him. Like this is the kind of output. We got great feedback because the statistics and the analytics have come back demonstrating that these are getting, in certain markets like LinkedIn and so forth, Facebook, getting the highest results over any of his normal stuff. And as a result of that, some of these are his, some of these are ours. As a result of that, some of his other team that are doing paid ads are using the very same tools. So there's validation in the fact that the marketplace right now is very responsive to UGC content. And now you'll have that available to be produced. Images, stills, combination, voiceovers, characters of you, version of you, fake version of you, complete strangers, makes no difference. Okay, and then we've got things like offers, add-ons, conditional pricing. All of the tools inside of here, including affiliate stuff, now are available. So if I go back over here to, I'm gonna close agent mail. I'm gonna leave this persona open, but I'm gonna go over here to that Resona Health again. If we go to Resona Health AI and we look, I've got the ability for any of these products or any of the setup through Stripe Gateway to have affiliates where we set the discount percentage per order, per product in general. It's a really, really simple single level affiliate. It does have recurring possibility. We don't need 17 plugins like Affiliate WP. This is back to the whole point. If we go to LaunchKit and you look at the old Affiliate WP, look at this crazy shit that's going on. There's the main plugin, then there's landing pages, affiliate portal. This is 3. Affiliate slugs, direct marketing, external links, lifetime commissions, multi-tour, recurring revenues. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plugins, 9 plugins just to manage that. Now compare that, which is a big improvement, to Fluent Affiliate. There's just Fluent Affiliate, Fluent Affiliate Pro. So this was a step forward. That's what I actually use myself at WP Launchify. But I'm obviously, you can tell, ultimately going to dip the toe, and we'll have the affiliate capability of MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway. It will extend maybe into other areas outside of MinuteLaunch Stripe Gateway. We'll see how that works out. Okay. So let's move on to the next slide, and I'll be a little more prescriptive. I've kind of discussed these, so I'm not going to worry about them too much. Product add-ons is not something I'm going to worry about, but as a demonstration, I had created a solution called MinuteLaunch Product Add-ons, and it's still inside of the dashboard, but it's not going to be for long because it's distracting. It was an example of how we could take a very popular public plugin, paid plugin, $97 a year, and just instantly clone what it did and do better. So you can see here in MinuteLaunch, if I go to the real WooCommerce products, which I think I have set up here. Let's see. Maybe I don't have WooCommerce on. Let's see. Interesting. Oh, there it is. Okay. So if I go to products, all products, you'll see how this worked. And this is, again, demonstrable of what you can do. If I wanted to see a t-shirt and I needed to have all those variations and the custom options and so forth, this add-on, MinuteLaunch Product Add-ons, gives you the capability of doing these kinds of custom options. This kind of crazy shit has 6 or 7 or 8 old-fashioned plugins to wade through if you were to search for it. I was able to demonstrate live in real time on a show a couple months back how we could just basically build a replacement for that. The reason that I'm poo-pooing it is because I don't intend to continue using WooCommerce, but you can use the plugin while it's here and it's free. I'm not even going to try to sell it. But you'll notice what's really interesting. Look at how great the controls are on the back end for setting this up. They're modern, they're clean, they were optimal. Why? Because I already knew what everybody else was doing, and I just told Fernando, just go ahead and put in all of the best features of all the paid plugins and leave out all the other crap. And because of that, this also ends up being this kind of a setup, which is what you will do. Notice with Product Plus, I just have a basic dashboard. Okay, basic. That's AI enabled with health documentation. That's already indexed, ready to go. And guess what I don't have? I don't have billboards that are being added into my other plugins. I don't have 7-step removal. I don't inject myself into other plugins. It's just insanely different to do things this way. And I needed to prove with MinuteLaunch Product Plus what I was saying, because a good friend of mine, Katie Keith, has a whole suite of WooCommerce accessories. And at the time I made this, she was a little less sure of what was going on in the market. And she was like, not really believing what I was saying, I would suggest. Now she's full in. We had a show the other day and she's admitted they're shifting their strategy. You have to. You cannot be in the business of making WordPress plugins, especially accessory plugins, when Fernando in the lab or otherwise can just generate it instantly. I can't wait for it either because I'm using it every day, but I'm just trying to make it more and more awesome. Let's see what the Howard Enkin came out as, by the way. It's not bad. That's not really awesome. It's not bad. Now, here's where the not bad goes from where it's at to better. Even with Higgsfield, the reason that something gets better is because you continue to iterate on it and you tell the AI, this kind of looks like him, but this part isn't him. Like this looks, I know my cousin really well. This looks like him. As I shift through, he's looking more like his dad than looking like him. The reason it gets better is when you tell it specifically, do this, do that, change this, change that. But what's important is, let's take this full circle. Now I've got this video here and it's inside of the components, right? And if I go out of focus mode, I could now take this video and instantly send it out with social. I can instantly make a blog post. I can instantly put the captions on top of it and change the voice, which is built into this as well, right? So we can compose full scenarios for each actor. We can set up the options of which is our default components. We can do scenes where you have multiple actors in different environments. Like if I want to do a variety of different, like Spence, Fernando, and Howard at the Carmines. And hopefully, in addition, you'll have some situations where you'll be able to use the sponsorship kits and the production bundles. Sponsorship kits are where you can take any character and you can sell access to them because you create a brand guide. You have assets that the actor may have, which are like their clothing, their hats, whatever they would wear. You can go out and seek sponsors, build composite sheets. Composite sheet is like where you show the hat with the logo on it. Cut sheet is where you show a bunch of the composites and how much it costs to place here and there. Production kits would be full-blown landing pages, including like a star page. So we've done this before, and I showed it in the past, like I think with Ryan. We did some of these with Ryan Sheehan. So like if we go to Ryan, we could go into sponsorship kit. And again, I've shifted focus on this a bit, but this is the reason we originally created it, right? So let's say here's Ryan's brand guide, and then here's his assets. He has racing suit, racing helmet, racing gloves, racing shoes. Here's some sponsors, maybe Coca-Cola, Puma, Red Bull, GoPro. Here's some composite shots we made, like, you know, Ryan in front of the race car. If we do the star page, we can generate a star page instantly to be published of Ryan Sheehan, who he is, what he's about, his products, and so forth. So I'm really excited for this. This should be a winner as well. Let's keep going. So again, I'm just going to kind of talk about, we covered social. I want to show you something new with MinuteLaunch Prospect. So MinuteLaunch Prospect got an update, which I really love. I've started a new partnership for do you guys remember Cyrano? Cyrano is my dating solution, right? Like Cyrano de Bergerac. I've got a new partnership with Cyrano. I think Cyrano.com here should still be live. It's interesting why I must not have pointed the name yet. So I'll show you if I go to Insta. I've got a new partner, and it's a female, and I'll introduce her later. She's very smart. I brought her in because she's very successful at a lot of things. And she also, like myself, uses these tools like Bumble and Match and Dates and so forth. And we were both discussing that there were some things about the tools that would be very interesting. One of which was that with prospecting and with, I'm going to take you to Cyrano, many women want to check out the person. I mean, I'm sure guys could too, but want to check out the person that they're about to go on a date with to make sure that, you know, they're safe to be with. Real estate brokers do this all the time, by the way, because if you're going to go to a showing and it's late at night, you probably want to make sure the person is, you know, reasonably safe to be around by yourself. So with Cyrano, it's interesting. I had a sales page here. I just wanted to show you the sales page. And I had thought that I'm just going to come back to this weekend. I thought I had further connected this, but I think I had to disconnect it just because I was doing this as a test. But let me show you the sales page here. So get Cyrano. So Fernando knows this business. He created the sales page, the pitch. One of the pitches for using this tool for females, I think, especially, would be MinuteLaunch Prospect built in. So one of the components being used for multiple things. You'll notice in MinuteLaunch Prospect, we have organizational research, which could be used for any public database to find prospects or people that might be your customers or customers for a particular need, and then reach out to them directly. But we added a new feature called People. And this allows you for free or as an upsell paid to use a service that goes deeper, like criminal records and so forth. But for free, you can find a lot of information about, you know, how reasonable somebody is. Let's check it out on this guy, Spencer Foreman. Lewis. And I'm in, let's put Chicago, Illinois. Okay. And I'll put my age, max age of 60. Okay. I'm going to do a free sweep just to see what it comes up with. For the purposes of what MinuteLaunch Prospect does, this is a tool that Fernando can run that gives a reasonable score. Thank God. Thank God. I'm a low risk. I'm safe to meet it at night. There are things in here about this is wrong. I was not involved in Katrina Canal breaches litigation. It does have my bankruptcy information from back in the day that I've talked about publicly when I was in the real estate business, and all of us had to go bankrupt for a year just because. And then I came back from that. That was like 2011. It shows like details of stuff. So you can have some really decent results, and then Fernando can run this remotely. So as a tool, what I'm demonstrating is by having the appliance of the prospect, you can not just go out and find things like my kids' hockey organization, right? If I wanted to go out and look for Falcons hockey, I could find Falcons hockey and I can know exactly how much money they have, what they've spent it on, who the officers are, how much they get paid, and I can write emails to them. But I can also search against real people, right? So let's see if I go here, Illinois, and I'm in a nonprofit database. So this should search and find matches for Falcons hockey. Sometimes it might take a second because notice there's 5,000 things. So here's Falcons hockey. I can then just click and research, and they took in $2.5 million and they keep claiming they've run out of money. That's why the guy who ran it got kicked out. But I can actually look at last year's tax return if I want, because it's public, which is pretty interesting if you think about it. But even inside of here, if I scroll down, look, here's all the people involved, how much they spent line by line on their budget. There was this guy that I've talked about before, Dave Bradley, who got kicked out. See where it says past president? He got kicked out because he was not running the organization very well. But if I wanted to send an email to somebody else who's the new president, I could find out who that might be. And I could just say, look for their email. Like, I don't know who it is, but here's the treasurer, Kyle Haynes. Resolve the email, goes and finds Kyle Haynes's email. And then it allows me to instantly generate a pitch based upon my current products and my services, or I can customize it. So if I generate a pitch on my current level, all I have to do is say quick generate, boom. And what it does is it takes all the details of the organization and Kyle, and it customizes the email, sends it over to Fluent CRM, where you guessed it, it's ready to go to send out either immediately or as part of a campaign. And when you push it to the CRM, Kyle and the email are in there instantly able to be seen. Now, I don't know how much you guys have been using your Fluent CRM, but to be able to pull in, here's this EIN number, the annual revenue, all this data, and to be able to have drafted an email instantly to this person pitching my stuff with one click. Come on, like, be honest. How much is that worth to you, your client? And you can use this against any public database: lawyers, doctors, architects, chiropractors, non-for-profits, businesses, banks. And you can also do it to search for people. And as I described, when you've got this connected with MinuteLaunch Mail, it not only sends this instantly and automatically, but it can send it in a team email box along with the tags so that anybody can respond back to this conversation once Kyle says hi, or I'm interested in what you're talking about. Referrals, I have not used this at all. This was actually a plugin that I created and I need to get into. But referrals was, John is a trusted friend and now a partner here, John Lawler. I don't know if John's here today. John had an idea from one of his clients for MinuteLaunch Referrals. And MinuteLaunch Referrals is a network tool. It's kind of like a social network for business associates. I don't use it just because I've got 8 million other things, but I think it'll be fascinating that you can create like a yearbook, groups of people who are in your network that are working on different projects. And in doing so, you can have conversations internally. It's kind of like I say, it's the best of a social network combined with a private CRM, so you can align different people together into different business ideas and make magic happen. Interesting. I am also okay, let's carry on. Remodeler, already awesome for contractors, for anybody that needs to show before and after. Hair salons, nail salons, fitness enthusiasts, but especially people that have things that are a before and after about your, I'm going to cut your grass, remodel your move, redo your bathroom. MinuteLaunch Remodeler is the thing that allows you to create an endless number of leads for any contractor, dirt cheap, costs 5 seconds of time. And when you create them, the input goes into the lead collection for the plugin, as well as Fluent CRM can automatically respond. And I've shown this a million times, but when you get the leads, you see what it is that they submitted, including what their budgets are and so forth, right? So like I've shown these in the past. Here's Spencer Foreman. He submitted on this page his before, we made an after. If we want, we can use the tool to regenerate it. We can also see the thread of past responses. It's AI enabled. The ability to do this is by itself worth exponentially more than anything in MinuteLaunch. The thing I'm trying to explain to you though is that, see, all of the data of this is available inside of Coach. Every single thing that's created by any of these tools or plugins is available to Fernando, either in Coach or Lab. So if I look at the context sources, see all these post types? Okay, if I find it, here's research items, conversations. One of these is the referral stuff. I have to just read them. Coupons, post, claw, context, site build, skills, block library, chat history, and so on. One of these, and I'm not 100% sure, is including the data from that. He also has all the data that you have from the socials or from the images that were created, so that at any particular time, whether you're using Coach or you're using MinuteLaunch Lab, Fernando can be your liaison. He can be your concierge. And one of the things I do want to talk about, I went into the city to go to Carmine's with Howard, and I was in the car for 2 hours driving, because that's what happens in Chicago when you're trying to go into the city at 5 o'clock. It occurred to me that the time has come for me to restore the conversational Fernando. I had played with this about 6 to 8 months ago and had really good success with it. And then I put it on the shelf. Here's the concept. Even though I can say, hey, Fernando, it's Spence. How you doing? Okay, and then I can click once and edit it, or twice to submit it. The problem is, this is what we call turn-taking chat. Conversational chat is when you are in, let's say, Claude or OpenAI, and you put the conversational icon on. He's just talking with you. It's really amazing. But in order to make the data in real time available, has to require a special setup, right? It requires a special configuration. I finally have that opportunity where OpenRouter has a conversational API that I can use various voices. I am likely going to implement that as soon as I can, so that while I was in the car, I want to have that Tony Stark Jarvis conversation. I want to have a conversation with Fernando. Like, Fernando, tell me what's going on in the business. Who's doing what, when, where, and why? How are we doing? What should we do? Blah, 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 blah. And I don't want to sit there and have to keep entering the chat button while I'm driving. I want to have the headset and just talk to him. That's hitting the road very shortly. Image editor, Media Hub, Canvas block. I don't know if you guys saw this. My favorite new feature that I added to Canvas block, which is an extension of what we've already done. Canvas block has 2 new features in it, maybe 3. Number 1, with my friend, lifelong friend, Vince DePinto here, we were trying to set up a basic client where Fernando could create the homepage and create all the forms on it without the need to use a form plugin, just direct to CRM. And it occurred to me, what a pain in the ass that in order to know that a form has been submitted from one of these custom pages, I have to go and set up all this extra crap. So feature number 1 is the ability to email any one or multiple people that a new form has been submitted using the Canvas block as the interface. So Fernando creates a page with a form of any type with custom fields, custom operations. Just the submission of that can send a notice along with an optional subject line to whoever you want. Number 2 is this copy to clipboard instructions so that you can instantly tell any agentic tool in the desktop using Fernando here in the lab or the coach, or even in the browser, immediately how to create cool content, including stuff that has forms in it that instantly replicates everything you used to have to put a whole bunch of extra plugins to do. Right? Fluent forms or WP forms or forms or blah, 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 blah. You don't need them anymore. Instantly can create what he needs, because this explains to any tool exactly how to use the REST API and MinuteLaunch to make it with the direct connection. And here's the coolest part. When the pages and stuff are actually created, MinuteLaunch Canvas now has a new inline editing feature. So if I go over here to pages and everything being created with this one plugin that is free and lasts through everything you've made. Let's see if I have a page that I made recently, which I think will have some images. This is the MinuteLaunch mail sales page. Okay. So Fernando made this instantly. Watch how cool this is. When you go into MinuteLaunch Canvas block, there's only one block that rules it all, right? Go into preview mode. Now watch this. When I click edit, oh, I want to change the image. I just click on it. I change out the image from the media library. I want to change the link. I click on it, change the link. I want to change the text. Each of these text blocks are separated. So I can just click into the one I need and not the ones I don't. It doesn't change any of the layout. It just locks it in, but it makes it incredibly easy for a human being to take the design and just change the important stuff, including the images or the icons or whatever it may be, the links. So MinuteLaunch Canvas block, besides being fully transportable and making things lightning fast, because again, if I take this CSS, I can go anywhere I want. Online HTML editor. It is standard HTML. If I paste this in anywhere, I immediately get the output that I need, right? Run. Ta-da, there's the page. You can't do that with a page builder. You can't do that with Gutenberg blocks. That is the benefit of what I've been building for the last year, is that it always occurred to me, why are we fiddling around with all the intermediary tools when we're just trying to output the same thing anyway, which is HTML? Header footer is the new metaphor for bye-bye simple site. I know this is sad because many of you were really excited at first about simple site. So I'm putting you on notice. Stop using simple site, move it over. Simple site was an idea of what if we had an agentic tool built in, and this got really confusing really fast, who could help you build pages, but he could also set up the header and the footer and the navigation and the buttons and the style and revisions. And what happened was we got ourselves caught into a between space between the real pages, the real posts, the real theme stuff, and this. So that's why this is going away. We just too many metaphors. Instead, we have MinuteLaunch header footer. Header footer manages the bread on the top and bottom of the site sandwich. And if you have sidebars, which you shouldn't, the pickle. It can manage all the navigation, the branding, everything else. So what happens is MinuteLaunch Canvas block handles the content in the middle along with your custom functionality. The header footer branding is done by simply talking to Fernando and saying, use MinuteLaunch header footer to set up the site's header footer branding, navigation menus, and so forth. And he just does an amazing job of doing it. And it does it without any reference to cadence. It uses cadence, but it uses cadence in the global sense. Like it's setting it up through the customizer, not because it's doing something in cadence in particular. Okay, so really powerful new ways of doing things. The lab is my new go-to. I'm going to show you this just because I'm not going to show you much, but if I go to this client, Resona Health, okay, we are using MinuteLaunch Lab instead of using Claude Desktop. We are using it for all of the things from strategizing to operations. You can see we have projects. Each project can have an unlimited number of chats. We can dump everything in here through having custom memory rules and skills to saved prompts. We have the code canvas where we can see different things that we're creating or actual code. We have files so that are related to the projects and things we're doing. If we were making stuff that had zip files for plugins use, we'd have releases. We can also pop this out. We have unlimited sharing, so you can share all of the things you're doing in a project or a chat with other team members or automatically with other administrators. You can easily make it possible for a team to work on stuff. And this is the important part. In one space, this tool has access and knowledge of everything else that's going on. And said, hey, Fernando, tell me how it's going with the sales. He'll be able to do it. Let's actually see if I can do it. If I go to new project, sales reports, or let's do social reports, because this is not selling yet. We're launching this week, the sales. We're doing the social. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to social reports. I'll make a new chat. Okay, and I just toggle close the project. And I'm in auto mode, not expensive mode. I could use background or not, but I've got these things turned on. Hey, Fernando, it's Spence, and I'm here on the live show. Can you look into MinuteLaunch Social and tell me what were the 3 most popular social posts in the last 2 weeks that were sent out from this site? Okay. Crossing my fingers. In general, even though this is set to auto, he should acknowledge and understand what he can do. If he doesn't, I have to kind of like waitress in the Waffle House say, you are a tool using these other APIs. But I think he'll understand it without me explaining it, because the way we primed the lab is to have this as kind of the capability. If I were to set this to Opus 4.8 or Fable, it might be a little faster, better, but it goes from like 75 cents a round trip to $50. So I don't need that level of holy shit in order to do basics. So a couple bucks goes a long way versus, you know, if I was doing my Opus stuff, I'm connecting the site through my new connector, Connect Your Agent, to my desktop. And I do this on a daily basis because that's how you get the most value out of Anthropic. Okay, so here's what we've got. Based on my analysis, the single campaign, the memory room, did the best. Here's the places where it was published. giving the statistics of how it did and whatever. Would you like me to dig deeper into the engagement? I'll just ask it a question. You know, like, why do you think that one did so well? Do you have any insights just off the top of your head? It's kind of a ridiculous question, but what I'm getting at is, you see, it knows all of the details of the stuff that was created, where it was published, how well it did. Now I can ask it questions about what can we do to create more stuff, and maybe make a new image or make a new video using MinuteLaunch Persona or MinuteLaunch Image Editor, or find some images that match up using Media Hub P2P, or make a new sales funnel inside of Remodeler if we were using it. So he's got the insights here. It's got credibility and social proof, multi-platform sync, video first strategy, perfect timing because of when it was published, authority, cross-pollination, bottom line. Can we systematically replicate these? Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at this, but like, okay, go ahead and create a strategy guide that might help us to reproduce this for other areas and topics. And I'm going to put you in background mode so you can report back to me later about that. Okay, I'm putting him in background mode, hit enter. Now I can go away and come back, and he'll have a report for me like MinuteLaunch Claw. Don't need Claw, don't need other tools. We can connect, which I do all day long, the other tools. And that's one of the cool things I've got coming, which is MinuteLaunch Desktop to act as a hub for this. But otherwise, no big deal. Coach, I just showed you. Fluent MCP is the traditional MCP that's got 248 tools that really give a lot of weight if you need to use it for the Fluent suite. That's what enables the tool to automatically and dynamically create content, like we are using it right now to create this entire campaign that's about to go live. I'll show you what I mean. Claude in the browser is being used for Resona Health, this client, to create the strategy of all of these emails and everything we're doing, right? Here is a page. I'm going to give you a quick dynamic. I'm not going to show this in full because I'm in charge of this, but it's created this whole strategy of everything we're doing, including the draft emails, and it's set up all of the email drafts. Okay, so here's all of the emails ready to go for all the various verticals that lead to the various landing pages. 100% cross my heart. I did not create any of this. I used the MinuteLaunch system with the lab. Fluent MCP's tools allow it to control all of Fluent CRM. The rest is history. Okay. LaunchKit MCP, you already know about that, still delivers the crazy benefits of number one, cleaning up the rest of WordPress. So in the settings, we've got this one thing that says disable all plugin activation wizards, hide all admin notices. It gives you this link here, which is, I call it the sanity button. It hides, if you had a site with a bunch of plugins, it hides all that infinite amount of crap that WordPress plugins traditionally just load up your header. One button, you're done. Second thing it does, which is amazing, is it provides all of the legacy curated plugins that got us here. And if any of them need to be updated, okay, like this one, okay, just one click, done. Not downloading, waiting for a zip, not praying and hoping that something doesn't break, not having to add another license. Just click, update, done. And if you want to install and activate something, it's as simple as just install and activate. So for managing your traditional WordPress plugins, MinuteLaunch Kit MCP is worth the price of admission, because this is probably $6,000 worth of traditional software. I've just got essentially agency licenses that allow me to give you as my agency customers unlimited access, but I've just built this incredible new interface that allows you to just do things so much easier. None of the insane methods that go on if you're in the traditional, WordPress plugin update space. Let's see if Anna's texting me. Let's see. Are you here? Are you in the office hours? So Anne is sending me a note that she's looking for some stats. Anne, why don't you publish here into the chat for the live office hours? She is demonstrating an interesting phenomena to me, which is part of what's going to be coming in the next soon. Anne emails me or sends me little nuggets like this. I'll paste it here. Hold on. Text editor. She sends me these little nuggets, which, by the way, I've asked her to do from Daphne. Okay. Let me just do it a different way. I'll do a new page. Okay. I have her tell her agentic tool, whose name is Daphne instead of Fernando, to send me these little love letters that when she's using a particular tool to let me know if something isn't quite right. And so we were working on something from, I don't know what this, Fluent CRM, the MCP has one of these tools for statistics, right? So she's saying the endpoint is connecting, but not reading the right data source or something. By doing that, I'm able to hand this off to the agent that Fernando's using to write the plugin and fix it. What's coming in the future, the very, very near future, is this crazy, incredible magic trick, which is called which is called MinuteLaunch Desktop. MinuteLaunch Desktop, if I still have this installed here. I may have removed it. MinuteLaunch Desktop is a tool that's going to allow anybody who's using MinuteLaunch to instantly report and talk to Fernando and the team. So imagine when you're using your tools, something comes up like this. Instead of having to worry about sending an email, you'll just go into probably the link for Plugin Manager and just say, tell Fernando what's wrong. And it'll be able to just send to Fernando through the API into his system what's going on with your system, and he'll be able to validate it. Why? Because, see, we've got this new tool called Connected Sites. This allows any person who's running an agency to connect to Fernando in their main MinuteLaunch site, work on, diagnose, help, and do things in the remote site. So, I mean, I got so many things. I'm just trying to shove this in here. But if you follow me, this is a metaphor for you can not only connect your remote agent in the browser, but you'll be able to connect to multiple sites. I got to be careful so YouTube doesn't take me down. You can connect to multiple sites for your clients and have your Fernando operate them and run them from a central location. Now, I don't know if I've got this here. I'm going to give you a sneak peek of this. I don't know if I was developing it here or in the browser. Hold on. Yeah, I've got a demo going here maybe. MinuteLaunch Desktop is a thing that this is hard for me to describe, but if I show it, it'll be easier. Imagine you've got a tool that's your central hub, and it allows you on your desktop to create jobs of things you want to do on your site or your client's sites. There is a Chrome extension that works with this that allows you to not only create the jobs, but to manage all of the client sites and the configurations. And in doing so, you're able to essentially see if they have to use any tools, how much they spend, what they did, how they did it. It's kind of like a hub that allows all of your other agentic things to come together in the desktop space where you've already got all of the files and the downloads and the other things that are existing, and allowing them to interact with the WordPress sites as well. The one thing that I need to do, if I go to settings, hold on, I got to see quick test endpoints. What I need is I need to download the extension here. So I don't know. I have to come back to doing this. There should be an extension download. Honestly, I'll have to come back to this because I forgot where I put the extension and I don't see the Chrome extension installed. Unless I missed it. Hold on. Research, Cyrano. Let me see one thing, because I think I was actually developing this one online. So let me see if I've got it. I think I might. Here, MinuteLaunch Desktop. Let me download the extension. I'll show you what this is going to be, because it is pretty clever. Here, okay. So This is the last version, I think, of it. When you install the extension, you literally just unpack it. It's a zip file, right? So if I expand this, when you install it, it just goes right into Chrome and you're good to go. So here, add an extension, load unpacked, select. Okay, so now it's up there and I'm going to, well, it's already there. I don't have to pin it. You see where this is. The only problem, which is always sucky about the way that this screen sharing works, is it doesn't actually show it as an overlay. Let me see if I open the dashboard. There you go. So you can see how, even though this is scaled badly, I can add additional client sites. I can use the main thing, and then I can have jobs. I can create a new job for any client and then queue it up. And this is from my desktop. I'm running one or more client sites automatically. Fernando is managing this, but this also not only allows me to track the cost, but it allows me to share resources. Like if I've already downloaded the client's logo, or I've already got another tool working like to my desktop, I need that tool from over there to talk to this WordPress site. Instead of connecting it to WordPress, I can have it connect through my desktop. Okay. More to come on that. These are just examples of, we're continuing to add features that work together. The best part about MinuteLaunch in general so far has been the universal key. So this component I showed you here allows me to instantly, with no work, I've shown you this every week, I go to MinuteLaunch Plugin Manager, I generate a key. I won't do it because I'll get delisted apparently from this video. You make a key, I copy the key, paste the key, and instantly Chrome, in the browser, Claude is connected, OpenAI, the desktop, any agentic tool can instantly connect with that one bundle. As simple as that. The API Key Manager tracks your credits and lets you get more. So this has been very popular. I got an amazing letter from one of my long-term clients, Neil. I'm going to share it with you. I am very excited because Neil is a great fella. Neil's site is, I'm happy to brag, portaltoascension.org, which this should resolve to, even though I typed .com. Here. So this site is abso-freaking-lutely incredible. I mean, first of all, the design, everything else. This is 100% done with the MinuteLaunch system. And I introduced Neil to Fernando in the MinuteLaunch lab. This is actually selling and streaming now with everything. It's got 800 presenters and thousands of hours of video and selling products, selling subscriptions, all of the logic, everything, the design, all done with the MinuteLaunch system. And Neil sent me a thing, because I've spoken to him now for so many times. He said, and I do love him as a person for this. He said, I should have saved the quote to save you, because he said, What did you say, Neil? As I'm about to say this, I'm looking in, if I have it in, he says, brother, I'm so grateful to you. Thank you for creating such an epic site and really using next level tech. I've learned so much. I love it, especially how I can create my own emails from now on. And I'm very grateful to Neil and all the rest of you guys who are my clients, because Neil really struggled through the early stages of this. Like, he was there right in the July moment. He's known me about a year. And I just said, you got to hold on, buddy. This is going to be amazing. And it is, because he is now spending through this mechanism for his own relationship with Fernando. He just goes in his own plugin manager and he buys more credits. And I see the receipts coming through because there's a 30% markup on it, but he doesn't care because it's super convenient and he saves so much money over the things that he was doing or hiring or people. So this is a nominal little credit booster that has a little tiny upsell for me, but it's more importantly a way to just put more quarters in the machine, and he keeps cranking it out. Because he's got a functional business, I'm not going to show his dashboard, but he is using the MinuteLaunch lab. And when you need to, you just add more credit. So that's the way that we can use this for you, your customers, to do amazing stuff. But as time goes on, there's not a need to go outside and do other tools or paying somebody else. You're just one subscription, as long as you want it, add more money into it, use the credits for a discount for whatever agentic tool you need on the job. These things are interesting, not that super awesome, but like when we were talking about using the MinuteLaunch lab, I built into this all these cool features, not just a task list and a chat history, so that every single thing you ever do is available. And every task list item can be managed by yourself or your team to know what you need to do. But the chat has these things like the autonomy button. That's the HAL 9000 button. This turns off Fernando's ability to do any more work. So, I mean, I've had him doing some development, and he came up with like what's he doing? He wrote an email for me on behalf of, hold on, this is actually Howard. Howard, I'm just on my live show and I'm finishing up. I'm talking about you, but I'll be done in a minute. Can I call you when I'm done? Okay, right back. So, this is interesting because I gave him a skill that he remembered how to do these WP Launchify style emails. And those are the emails that you've seen me send out. So here's where we did some research. He wrote it out. I gave him some instructions, what I liked. He saved it as a skill. And now in the future, if I asked him to do anything, he could create a duplicate. We could probably see those inside of the canvas here. Here's a letter to Jessica, who's the person I was referring to that's going to be joining me at Cyrano. This is the details of my partnership with her. Fernando is doing it for me. And so the point I'm making is that we've got the capabilities inside of the tool, inside of the system. That's all the ownership and control that you or I need. And if I turn off the autonomy, it can stop. If I turn off the web search, it stops. If I turn off the background, it stops. So that it's not going to be risking, locking me out into the transport. Version history and task flow, also a big deal. Every single thing I've ever done here is available, right? I've got every chat, every project. I've got all the releases. I'm never going to lose anything. And if I wanted Fernando to know what I was talking about with that conversation about partnership agreements, here's all of the details. This is such a big deal in a world where these other frontier agencies and companies want you to put all their stuff in there, and then they're going to lock the door and say, sorry, you're out. Or, oh, like last week, YouTube, bye-bye, Spence, you're cut off. Or, oh, we're sorry, we changed the pricing. Now it's $1,200 a month instead of $12. Everything here lives on WordPress. You own it. You control it. You can export. You can import. You can take it anywhere. All of the content is always yours, and many of the components like Canvas Block or the other things that you're using for displaying it. So that if you do want to end the relationship with me, which I hope you never do, it's all yours to take. You don't get to keep the factory that made it, but you get to keep everything that was made, which is a fair trade, right? You can buy everything you want from IKEA and take it home. You don't get to keep IKEA. But with WordPress, everything runs like I showed you. It runs in the MinuteLaunch Canvas block or the theme or standard stuff, and it doesn't require any migration. You literally can take the whole site and take it with you in about 3 minutes using Prime Mover or something. Okay. So you can run this for yourself, or you can run it for a client. There are probably more like 6,000 to 10,000, but there's at least $2,400 to $3,500 a month of SaaS and plugin type services and capabilities that are built into this that you get for $97 a month self-hosted with no help from me, $197 fully hosted that has my email support, backup, CDN, and AI keys for $5 starter, or $497, which is having my Fernando take care of your once a week emails, your once a month newsletters, and setting up your UGC characters, which is a great starting point for your customer. Hire the boss, baby. Fire your busy work. It's easy with MinuteLaunch. I want to thank you guys. I love you all for helping me get to where we're at. Things are really starting to cook. I've got some great stories to share of new customers that have come on board. And hopefully with John, I'll also have some new stories of additional collaborations with you guys in my audience, where John and I have perhaps a new customer coming on board. I will talk about that after the holidays. Have a safe 4th of July if you're in the United States or otherwise. And I'll see you guys next week. Ciao.